oh boy, and man, oh man, motherfucker, I've got an episode for you. It's Gormoth, it's Adam Trainer Gormoth, it's ForeverCold. There's a couple things I want to go through on this. First of all, there's a lot of commentary on these first 7 seasons of my show. And there's also a lot of that commentary that I have to just come out right off the bat and say what it fucking is. And I'm going to explicitly stipulate for you right now that all that bullshit commentary is not just bullshit. It's, well, unfortunately me absorbing a lot of fucking energy from Christians and secular religions, belief people. And that's a pretty tight jam to be in. That's a pollution, you know, that's a lot of fucking pollution. Podcasters, beware. Your head will be polluted if whatever the fuck. Anyway, a little bit of commentary is also going to be for you. Basically, one thing I noticed about this artist that I find really interesting that I only have a few seconds to mention, throwing it out there, that a track from Anorion has the same melody as one of my tracks. A track from Skilgar has the same melody as one of my tracks. I'll probably do an episode on it later. Let's run it. And a track from Skilgar is the same. It's the same melody as one of my tracks. Guys, I am not ready to do my recording for this episode. For some reason, I'm feeling kind of finicky. And so, I'm hopping off and then hopping back on. But, I'm really stoked about this. Real excited about this. All right. I have the questions and the answers here before me, ready to go. And looking into this episode without any of the interruptions that I usually have, I'm a bit nervous about this. And I've got to say, I have been following a few artists and keeping up with their work and what they do on an internet presence, and those experiences to me are what I find very meaningful since the impact of COVID. That's one of the questions that we have to look forward in here, is that, just the impact of COVID, how it can affect people musically. And of course, being a little bit redundant is one of the aspects of doing these interviews that can present itself as an issue. I just have, I have to say, other than that impact of COVID, that in this genre of music, one of the things you can expect to is delving into a little bit of the philosophies, like satanic philosophies and some satanic beliefs. So presenting and opening the door to that topic and bringing that in and introducing that into this episode is one of the things you'll want to have in your expecting when you're hearing me talk about it with these artists, or if you're just hearing me talk about the interview. So I have the questions and answers here before me, and that is going to be where I just go ahead and take another little break. I'm going to pop back on. So, the new season's on. The new season's up. This is a new season. I'm just watching the slide passed on by, I'm just going to watch the slide passed on by here with these questions. is the album art for specific historic events, and is it AI? And the answer is, I used to use AI when it came out, but I like these old paintings better. And that's where I need a little bit of time to discuss, you know, this stuff, and have this be sort of like, I'm already a fan, I'm already a consumer of this artist's music. Now to be on here and to talk about it in order to maybe, I don't know, coax other fans in, whatever it is that I would like to present as a premise for that, is totally unnecessary, totally uncalled for, totally unwarranted, totally unneeded. What is needed is for me to really ultimately all I'm doing is just keeping at this. You know, that's ultimately what I'm doing here. I'm just keeping at this. I'm gonna be from time to time checking in to see if I'm actually enjoying this or not. I'm you know, like, I'm needing to hear the feedback if you guys watch this or listen to this and laugh your asses off. And then I did get one laugh from one of the artists that I interviewed. And although I didn't understand what it was, and still don't understand, and may never understand what the laughter was about, for me to still just keep at this, you know, we'll see where this ends up. We'll see where this shows, how this show ends up, and how it turns out to be. But here we go. Question number 2 was, with a looper you could do shows. Any tour dates you want us fans to know? They said, I don't really plan on performing. I don't like performing. I play music while I enjoy it. I don't really remember a riff. I record it once, and then the next one comes. That's exactly how I write my shit. That's exactly how I do my shit. You know, for us to have a culminating little hub here in a space where we're doing this stuff, I wouldn't know this if I'm reading this on my own. If I'm just reading this myself and retaining the information for myself from where I'm at right now, I wouldn't fucking know. And if I did, I wouldn't be able to do anything with it. So here we go. Now question number 3. Why is your hometown important to you? Any chance the answer is in the lyrics? The answer was, I grew up here. I have a lot of friends here. I also love the country in the lyrics. I write more about my own troubles and feelings. Neighbors ever complain? Not yet. And this is great too. This is great for me to provide an extra little bit of work here, to provide a little context and have a little bit of explanation provided in. It's no skin off mine. Next question. With other projects, you have a distinguishable difference between them. Do you find these all culminating into fewer projects later, or do you prefer to diversify? It says, yes, every project is different. Gormoth has more ambience elements. ForeverCold is more depressing. That's what I wanted to capture. The Haldoklo Csigallok are demons that I improved a little bit. I think it will stay that way. So this is what's a requirement here, and a bit of a paradox. To exacerbate it by talking about the paradox, probably not going to go there. To ignore it completely, definitely not going to go there. To face this thing head on and just literally, if you're listening to me and you can hear this, facing this thing head on and just going for it, just absolutely going for it, and really making the music as it is and sharing enough of it that you feel comfortable with, and then really ultimately kind of skipping and trotting on along and traveling along down the road and through the journey of, well, some of the questions you're not going to be needing to answer, some of the people interviewing you're not going to be wanting to spend time with. I should hope and have worked really hard to make sure this is a safe space for this kind of shit. So if it's a paradox there too, I probably ignoring that. But the first time, I'm not going to the place of whatever the other one is. So, well, the paradox, being addressed is the same thing as what I was just saying. Like, it's a paradox that got to be addressed to have this music be what it is, and then to be able to share some of these creative elements. It's that if this something can be seeded from and spawned from and expanded upon and made a little bit more complex and more interesting, as in the variety of different genres of this genre, the subgenres of this genre, it's different kinds of metal, and then there's a bunch of different kinds of black metal. So this is where you look at, you know, one whole side of things is what we need to get clear right now. Okay, any of the fucking mainstream music that pops through my head through and for whatever reason is inexcusable for me. It just totally is. This kind of genre of music and what my role is and how I play this game is ultimately my domain. That's my turf. That's where I have say-so. That's where I speak on things, and that a lot of people that come and go through this machine of that is black metal music, there's really only a few things that I can say about it, and ultimately take what you can get and then move on. So taking what I can get right now is a little bit like this. So there's 3 different descriptions of the artist here, and I have to be able to speak on certain things. I can't seem to find a calm median here a little bit where I can kind of breathe or take a rest or take moments in between sentences and words that I'm saying to have that be a tolerable thing. But I will from time to time, like right now. Gormoth is ambient, ForeverCold's depressing, and Haldoklo Csigallok are described as demons. So the helpful aspect of this and the challenge for me is to be able to conduct an interview in this way and not be able to dig into the stuff that I want to dig into. Like, describe the demons. Well, that's not paradoxical after all. It turns out it's actually not paradoxical. It's actually perfect in its design. It's actually being displayed perfectly right before my very eyes. And there you have it. That this is music at the end of the day, folks. Let's not forget it. A lot of people have a lot of other stuff to say. I obviously have to leave a lot for those people to have something to say, as I'm required in this kind of symbiotic relationship. But there's where I'm aware now that I just reach a point where, well, I'm taking away. I leave some for something else to say, of course, for sure, on GP and good principle. But for me to actually have to say some of the stuff and then leave it unattended to, that's something I won't do. So the fully formed thought that I'm trying to say is complete, you know, ultimately what it'll boil down to is that in the description of the show you'll find philosophy as one of the topics, and that if you can entertain the idea of philosophy or what that means nowadays, or people and the kind of individuals that are interested in that from my experience using my algorithm, all I've found is just a bunch of people that stay there on my phone. Having the extra effort being put forth where I'm actually meeting these people in person and having stuff, that's going to be somebody my age that's not going to put up with that shit. That's who I am. I'm somebody who's not going to put up with that shit. So I'm training my algorithm. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm enjoying stuff as much as I can. A lot of this babble that I throw in here and toss in here is extremely and entirely personal, and I hope for the sake of me actually making the music that I can preserve some of that. And it's confirmed, folks. I'm benefiting a great deal from remembering that this artist makes music the same way that I do, and that regardless and irregardless of the fact that it may or may not be respected by a lot of people, there's one of the following episodes of the show has the second light at the end of the tunnel. I consider it a bare minimum standard to provide you with 3 lights at the end of the tunnel until it inconveniences me, and then someone else is going to have to do that. Someone else is going to have to do it that way, and that's not going to be me. But what I'm leaving here is I'm leaving that note and moving on to the conclusion note here and the closing statement of what I'm trying to make and the point that I'm trying to make. Paradox of the fucking being able to talk about your demons, or being able to talk about that stuff that in the way that this interview was conducted I wasn't able to. So, well, that ultimately boils down to I'm not a good salesman. I'm not good at pushing people. I'm not good at fucking, you know, that doesn't mean I'm not good at this. That simply means that if I was not good at this, it would just be because I'm too inspiring or too fucking whatever. And if I possess that kind of fucking, you know, crushing, smashing that down to the ground attitude or determination to do that, well, by all means, fucking give it to me then. Run that shit. Because I ain't fucking unsure about too much, but what I am unsure about is how can I make this podcast easier to conduct. Having the difficulty of putting this episode together, I keep telling you, brushing it off, saying it's no big deal, but that's just as bad as ignoring. That's just as bad as ignoring as how much trouble it is to put these fucking episodes together, and at no cost, free of charge, out pro bono style thing. And then with all the legal terminology I gotta read and legal type of matters that might get involved with anybody thinking I'm trying to steal their trademarks or any kind of corporate issues or something like that. You know, this is all stuff that I'd consider my demons. So for me to channel it into one simple fucking black metal song, or one simple fucking black metal project, or one simple fucking black metal album, and then connect with other people making black metal, you know, this is, I'm really fucking glad to be here. Maybe you don't say that enough. I'm really fucking glad that I'm here. I'm really glad to be doing this. And moving on along then. I got plenty of fucking time here in the slot of ramble in the first slide here. So as I said, as the slides truck along, I'll read to you what's going on in the interview, and then that's basically what I'm doing. And then, you know, having a kind of refurbished attitude is one thing that I want to say, that having started this and then interviewing people and then doing it for my reasons, all that's available. I'm going to let you know right now in the origins episode, that in those origins episodes, if you find any of the episodes of the show with the word origins in the title, you'll get to learn a little bit about my history. You'll get to learn a little bit about how I do this, why I do this, and then I'll continue to start effectively second guessing myself or doubting on whether I'm doing this right or something like that. But certainly everybody's got demons. And certainly, you know, I don't understand. I want to say this real quick. I don't understand why I would be worried about ruining someone else's black metal. So if there's a little bit of an interesting carrot on a string that might be needed if some of us black metal guys that need sustenance of some kind, like, you know, what I keep saying over and over again is we need doubt. We need doubters and corrective and constructive criticism in the comments. We get very little of it, and the only doubt and constructive and corrective criticism that I've seen is like the big, huge guys like Behemoth and shit. And then in the comments I saw for a riddled with Jesus Christ and all this Jesus freak shit, you know, I then personally and myself think to myself, yo, is this just reserved for Behemoth and the big guys? And it's like, well, no, not really. I guess, you know, some of us are going to have to just work extra harder now. We're just going to have to work harder to kind of summon the doubters and just put it in there from sheer boredom, or put it in there from whatever it is. Eventually, at some point in time, we weed out all the weak ones here. Enough said, and the slide continues, folks. Is Gormoth satanic black metal or just in the style of? The answer is, I'm not a Satanist. I'm trying to write about feelings. I'm not interested in mind-rotting religions or beliefs. Well, the question was about Satanism, okay? Getting into this is a bit of it's a bit of a crew thing. It's a bit of a territory thing. It's a bit about referencing back to a person I wanted to interview who's simply interested in practicing satanic stuff and then shares their satanic rituals on social media. And in asking them to be and inviting them to be on the show, I was recommended to reach out to the people for the Satanic Temple and the people that are in a position of power or something like that. That's where I can't speak on necessarily. I can't speak on that unless I want to necessarily. So, what is my role in this question and answer, in this specific question with this specific answer. My role is, well, I'm this guy. I'm the same guy. So if though I have a different answer than him, once that's been made aware of, we're not the same guy anymore. And so you can use difference in beliefs to set yourself separate and apart from each other. But one thing that you can certainly come to expect here is that I won't be completely free of all emotions and feelings. That's a machine. That's for machines. I'm not a machine. I'm a man. So is he. So the fucking things that you come to expect here is being like, well, every once in a while you're gonna experience some emotion and some of the volatility. If you've come to like some of the volatility from me, Mickey GemInEye, here in the Vault of Doom podcast presented by Lion's Den Productions, drop that comment, share on your hashtag, check out the Linktree link in bio for other future episodes. Anyway, let's get back into this one because I want to tear this one right open here. I don't have a problem with this guy making black metal even though he's not satanic. I think that there's a shitload of satanic beliefs that agree with it completely, and if you look into it enough or just happen to know, either way, whatever it is, whatever drew you here, whatever brought you here, you know, that's going to be what we would have to talk about. But most people think motherfuckers ain't got shit to talk about nowadays, and it's the stupidest fucking shit ever. And I keep thinking I don't have an audience, and I got views over here, and I got fucking ambition to wake up in the morning and actually do this shit. But, you know, right now I can use this for a barroom conversation of, I'm this guy in barroom, I like this artist. I say, well, hey, cool, I fucking... Bro, I freaking love that one project the most, and I love this song the most, and hey, I got some videos up on this for my favorite riff from this on here, and then, you know, oh, that's cool, he would say, oh, here's my favorite track and my comment that I posted on that on Bandcamp and shit. And then I say, did you know this guy isn't satanic? And then we'd be like, whoa, cool, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But you know how it is. A lot of sarcasm is at risk here for saying things speaking on this matter. And a lot of podcasters are making podcasts and not speaking on this matter. So I probably won't be either one because I'd honestly rather just get to the rest of the few questions. And especially because I don't know how long this slide is, guys. I don't know how long this slide of the show is, so I have to freaking get on down through and make it a good time. I'm creating this episode for you, the artist. I'm creating this episode that I interviewed. I'm creating this episode for the audience and the fans of the music and the artist. And I'm creating this stuff for me so that I can get better at doing this. And I'm creating this for me so that I don't have to worry about remembering that I'm spending my time doing what I enjoy. So no fucking problem on the discussion here, folks, about what are the connotations of a black metal artist that is not satanic. That, for me, still is useful. I can still use that. In turn, looking up the lyrics now, I can know what to expect, that it ain't going to be satanic. It's going to be more of this specific thing. And not only that, you don't have to worry. Here's the thing. You don't have to, not so fast there. Au contraire, mon tout faire. It's a different language, so you're going to have to work on all the translations and all that stuff. There's one more thing, too, before you go, that it's like worldwide, all around the genre. So let's figure out how we can step on down here to the next few questions. Where or who do you draw doom influences from? Favorite bands now and since childhood? I don't know. I was listening to a doom playlist and thought I'd make it with my own style. I don't really have a favorite band. I listen to a lot of things. Well, listening to a lot of things is where you really ultimately can find the most variety and find that I found that answer through most people. I found that answer through most people as well. That it's most people aren't purist anymore. And that's where I come to find out, well, you know what? That's not entirely true. I met a metal purist recently, and that's where I am. It's my role to do this stuff live. It's my role to do this stuff live and pick and prod just a bit and see well, people could take that the wrong way. People might misunderstand, and I'm included, as I'm not sure if you mean without even asking any new questions. I already have the details of the next question to get into the prod stuff. Like, yo, do you mean like you're okay with it existing? And that's funny. That's funny, you know, that's a funny joke a little bit. He, don't forget to laugh. But there's a lot of stuff that makes people like different styles of music, even though they're into the really heavy stuff. But it's enough said on that. Most one-man projects are solo for being free of judgment. Why do you make one-man black metal? Actually, my friend and I started playing music together in 2020. We were drunk and decided that we would do black metal too. We always listening it, so we should do it too. And he stopped playing. I played guitar for 5 or 6 hours every day and really liked it. And then it became a thing I love to do the most. See, I can fucking say to myself right now, I'm a bit subconscious and insecure about not having the fucking ability to acknowledge the dissonance here and the disconnect and what I want to and am trying to say about this person's answer to my own question. It's a bit of a fun thing to me because, well, there ain't nothing else a motherfucking do. Motherfucker. Except work on that, freaking feel that, experience that, whatever. So, you know, it's like he's gonna hopefully comment on this, but it's like, you know, for me to talk like this, you know, and expect people to have feedback about specific parts of the show, that's the only part that I'm really ultimately upset about. Like, tell me your favorite part. Tell me the specific, your favorite part about fucking what I do and how I do it and all this stuff. And then, you know, share some details and all this stuff. Be like, hey, you know, that was funny as hell when you made that joke. Like, I get your sense of humor. Long paragraphs are what are kind of, I don't want to say what I require, but I feed on that. You know, I feed on that kind of large feedback, or I feed on supplying and sustaining through leaving large reviews for businesses that I attending businesses, on businesses that I feed. So it's like, you know, what I could use is a good hear me out moment. Hear me out. What makes you make one man black metal? I'm trying to feed that there's variety here. We're all not the same fucking people. We have different styles. What is his response again? He started in 2020 with his friend when he's drunk, and now he's loving what he does, and it's what he loves to do the most. And so he's feeding the energy of, you don't have to be fucking thinking about shit so fucking much. Next question. Your lyrics translate to some pretty depressing stuff. Do you consider this is a channeling of energy or authentic emotional response or simply poetic expression? Well, actually, this is how I write about my own things. I drank a lot of alcohol, and sometimes I felt really bad about it. I had a lot of bad thoughts, but I don't have the problem anymore. I just write about these feelings. I let them out. I get nostalgic about lost family members or old drinking and smoking days. So that's another thing too, is like, well, you know, fuckers, put me up against shit. You know, put me up against big ones. Put me up against big ones. Do I have to ask for it myself, or no, don't ask for it for myself? What am I asking here? What am I wanting here? What is the dissonance? What is the elephant in the room about what I can and cannot fucking express here? And it's like, well, it seems to be like an ongoing, constant thing with me. Is like, you know, even somebody saying like, you have mental problems, man. Saying that to me would be good, you know. And a lot of that, I think that's what a lot of this is. a lot of that is, you know, I have to kind of remain ultimately in whatever fucking role that I am in this game right now. And then, you know what? It's kind of, I'm always teeter-tottering back and forth around shit. As the ultimate things that I'm saying are helping and feeding and go hand in hand. They must go hand in hand with everybody else here in this community and everybody else here and this stuff. And the thing that I need to fucking be sure of is that, like, when I want and need to follow through with things, to say, you know, hey, if I'm saying weed out the weak ones and somebody took that the wrong way, and I can't necessarily apologize, well, you know, I'm pretty sure things will eventually start working out, but that's not I don't think it's necessarily like that. I don't think it's not necessarily like that, honestly. I think that, you know, I can train my algorithm, or I can train, you know, personal spiritual practices and stuff in certain more simpler ways, or experienced ways. Ways that I'm experienced in. Ways that are simpler, easy for other people to understand. But the way that I'm doing it right now is just like a constant, ongoing thing, constant problem. Here we go again. I got another problem, you know. Like I'm working through my stuff in this way, and no, I don't have no shame. I have no shame. Next question is, how do you record and mix your Dungeon Synth project? As a joint effort between you and your childhood friend? Is it remote, or are you both physically there? He lives in Australia. Every year he comes here for our Christmas, and we actually put together what we've been doing all year. That's why new stuff always comes in December. Hey! Oh, hell yeah. A real announcement. Hey! I'm still here, folks. Believe it or not, I'm still fucking here. Like, that's a real announcement, guys. December Dungeon Synth December. And then, you know, the way that I've been making content, and the way that my social medias look, and the way that fucking how long I've been making content, how long I've been doing social medias and shit, and then look at me, and then say, hey, you're a weirdo, or something like that. I don't know, but it is, and it is weird. It is weird too, the way that I would put together Dungeon Synth December, and then have the photograph be of a big old freaking lawn deer. You know, there's a cool thing in town that people do, and there's a cool thing that I always do, and that's not enter in my stuff in here. My stuff doesn't come here. I leave all my stuff at the door. As for the catching up here, I know you guys might want to catch up. That's what the comment section is for. That's what you drop them on there for. And remember, your comments were not read unless I respond. I'm that guy. Unless I respond, your comment didn't even exist. Well, that takes care of the one before last question. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. Well, that takes care of one of the last few questions. So as we come to close and draw to close here with this interview, I'm sort of recuperating a little bit from how I do this. I want you guys to know how a little bit extreme that this might be. I get kind of dizzy and frazzled and rattled and lightheaded from this sort of experience, even though it's probably a medical issue that I could probably help. I leave that at the door as well. So be aware, be mindful that stuff that I'm leaving at the door comes with some medical issues I'm also leaving at the door. I consider this as a perfectly sufficient way of coping with any and all of it. And it sounds like this artist uses this art for what it's meant to be used for. And more power to him and other artists like him. as the only people that are going to be sitting there arguing with us here are those Wizard of Oz folks. It's the Wizard of Oz. He's sitting behind the curtain. He's making thunder and lightning and making his voice projected really loud. And he's a sad, sad little man. And so, you know, for me to actually say this stuff and then get no response, I mean, that's kind of where the tables have turned, Talons. I want to get some, here's the thing here, I want to get some variety at some point with a little bit more death metal, a little bit more doom metal, and then I want to get some death and doom. And then have these guys with the freaking death and doom, and then all the guys that I got on here so far, and that I want to be on here, and then I'm keeping it purist and all this stuff. You know, we'll get to the lifestyle. I get the anxiety. I get that a lot of people don't want me fucking dissecting and putting under a microscope the lifestyle here. That's not something you have to worry about with somebody that's been making content for 13 years. And you know, when somebody's been making content for 13 years and you don't know about them, and then the fucking thought bomb explodes and you can't stop and help but thinking, I can see why I'm being avoided. I can see why this is my tribe, this is my home, this is where I fucking belong, and why I'm going through a little bit of an extra trouble from it, and I have to keep fucking reminding myself that it's going to be fine. There's no one here. I'm making a show right now. I'm recording an episode of my show, and then I upload it, and I go and look at the comments as much time as I want later, and there's no one there. Wizard of Oz, folks. We all know the Wizard of Oz. Everybody knows the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz. And then getting into the details about death metal, getting into the details about black metal and doom metal. I want to be sure that the questions that I'm asking are fucking genuine to myself. And that is ultimately a problem, because this guy is making doom because he likes doom. So if and when it's under atmospheric black metal projects and all this stuff, and I find that's not even how I found this artist. I found this artist through YouTube's algorithm. So I'm just simply combating, you know, one evil not lesser than the other. You know, the lesser of two evils is still evil over here. It's still the algorithm I'm talking about. It's still the machine that I'm talking about, and that I owe some credit to for finding this artist. And the motherfucker's probably still here with me right now too. So it should scare you. Maybe a fucking episode of my show will inspire you to make some shit. I don't fucking care. Last question is, how did you handle COVID lockdown? I went to work and the pub a lot. He went to work and the pub a lot. When COVID hit, this guy went to work and the pub a lot. So he was freaking like, I'm not going to let you tear me down. And he was like, I'm freaking here right now, and I'm freaking got, Mickey GemInEye's got my back. And the pub, you know, I could say, you know, unfortunately I was doing the fucking pub thing and drinking and doing the bar scene at home with all the music on Twitch and live streaming. Anyway, folks, that's the interview. That's all we got. I'm signing out on these closing words. Metal is doomed. The world is doomed, and this is fucking metal news, metal music, metal podcast. I'm Mickey GemInEye, Vault of Doom podcast. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you check out the link in bio. Send your cash on the Cash App if you fucking want to get a shout out. If you want to do features, I'm accepting any and all fucking submissions for freaking like being on the show. And then your music's featured on here. And so with that, let's feature some of this music right here. So then, there you have it. That's the interview conducted between myself and my first feature on here, as the confusion between genres might be there. I believe we've dispelled that confusion, and it's really Black and Doom. With that, I'm very proud to have conducted this interview, hosted this individual, and really ultimately considered it to be, as always, a great pleasure sharing this experience, as well as featuring some of the music on there. And, although it's only the first time I've had this artist on here, I certainly don't want it to be the last. So keep your ears peeled and definitely keep up with this artist as best you can, as he is really really got to have that. He's got to have that fan engagement, and as he stays current on the socials and with interactions with the fans, you want to be there. Mickey GemInEye sign.